Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm on like day 5 or 6 of having I'm kind of getting over COVID, but woo, I mean that stuff really does give you a hit. All right, so check this out. Joe Biden, he's announced that he is gonna not step down from the presidency, but get out of the race, and he's endorsed Kamala, okay? And what I say is, as long as he's still in office, Operation Choke Point 2.0 continues. So, because his deal with Senator Warren was that she runs finance in this country, she gets to pick all the people that are in the financial part of the White House. And so Operation Choke Point 2.0 is alive and well, and Gary Gensler's still got his position, and so nothing's changed. And that's why these people all have to go, as far as I'm concerned. Now, the interesting thing is that Obama did not endorse him.
Last night, the message from President Biden and those around...
Sorry, the Obama family is not endorsing Kamala. Now, what I believe this is I believe the entire party does not want Kamala, but the only people, I guess, that cannot endorse her would be the Obamas, because they can't be accused of being racist, is what I'm assuming is going on here. In other words, everybody else is endorsing Kamala, but they're going to not endorse Kamala, and they'll make it look like a big fight when all of them want Kamala gone. That's the bottom line. Because not because Kamala's not white, but because she's an idiot.
Quote, all systems go, and campaign full speed ahead. Then at around 1:45 p.m., he notified senior team members that he had changed his mind. Let's get to what might have changed his mind, Brett, but also this statement from Barack and Michelle Obama, which does not endorse Kamala Harris. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton have come out to endorse her. President Biden endorsed her. But here's what the Obamas say. We will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead, but I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges.
Okay. Now, look at what John McAfee said. This is pretty bizarre right here. That's Joe Biden's letter. On I guess July 18th of 2020, John McAfee says Russia's first time traveler has returned. Guess what he said? In September, Biden is medically diagnosed as unfit for office and quits. They discover that the DNC has legal power to choose a replacement without a national vote. Weird, huh? You'll never guess who they chose. We shall see. I've heard whispers of Hillary Clinton, which makes me want to vomit. Nick Carter makes a really interesting point. It's definitely weird that Biden withdrew via a tweet. We genuinely don't know if he saw or even authorized it. Everyone knows he doesn't run his Twitter account. Super bizarre. There's another word for it. He's kind of had a coup by his own party against him. His party's been talking about attempted coups for the last however many years. Isn't that what's going on in their party right now? A coup to throw out the sitting president to keep him from running? James O'Keefe says all bets are off. Anybody who tells you they know what is going to happen is a liar. There is going to be another series of black swan events before the election day that throws everything off again. The only thing that we know for sure is that there is corruption on the inside. You got that right. And then Elon Musk has now added laser eyes to his X profile picture, but it's not Bitcoin orange laser eyes. These are blue purple-ish. What could he be talking about? Then we've got this from the Black Swan Capitalist guys.
Do you think that what we've talked about in the past with Ripple and the digital asset XRP, that this is a possible solution to this massive banking crisis that is yet to come?
I do. I mean, I'm, generally speaking, not a big fan of cryptos, as you guys probably know. Mm-hmm. But certainly it's like a weapon, It's not the weapon that does the damage. It's who's holding it and what the purpose is. And so there's certainly some real breakthroughs that can be made with the crypto or the blockchain. And so we have to look at it on an individual case-by-case basis. There's some that are just, tag-alongs, cookie cutter, put a name on it and want to get rich quick. And there's others that have a true purpose. I would say XRP definitely does. And I do see it as a neutral. I don't see it as being biased, even though I know the Rothschilds have, 8% or something at one time. I know the
Rothschilds.
But, there's a little bit of good in the worst of us and a little bit of bad in the best of us. And I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just a practical guy. Does it fit? Yes. Will it work? Yes. Is it perfect? No. But it certainly can mitigate a lot of problems with the transition.
Okay. And then we've got this about de-dollarization, removal of SWIFT due to Project mBridge. Listen to this clip.
It wasn't clear enough. The primary purpose of mBridge is to make it possible for its users to bypass the existing US-centric financial system. This not only includes bypassing SWIFT, but also bypassing all intermediary banks in cross-border transactions, as well as the US dollar in forex trading. For reference, the US dollar is basically a bridge currency, especially for large transactions. So, if you want to swap, say, a large amount of New Zealand dollars for Canadian dollars, you'll have to swap New Zealand dollars for US dollars, and then US dollars for Canadian dollars. That's just because it's not always possible to trade lots of New Zealand dollars directly for Canadian dollars. With mBridge, you'd be able to swap New Zealand dollars for Canadian dollars directly from a bank in New Zealand to a bank in Canada, assuming these banks are a part of the mBridge system. This removes the US dollar as the bridge currency, removes intermediary banks from the transfer, and removes SWIFT from the equation. This is extremely significant.
Okay, and then we have, this is a compilation that was put together. I may not play the whole thing, but it's worth you seeing at least a good part of it.
Is there a current agreement or partnership in the works between your companies?
No. Not that I know.
Not that I know of. Thank you.
Instead of SWIFT, which is just a messaging system, and then the banks have to somehow pre-fund in Nostra accounts. You could use blockchain, but the current thinking is you need a bridge currency in between, and that bridge could be a stable value that's backed by the US dollar or the euro. It could be a currency even like Ripple has an alternative.
As well, but we may also see XRP moving across the SWIFT network as a currency when we're perhaps using something like FX.
A number of different people we've hired over a period of time. One of the former board members of SWIFT, a gentleman, Marcus Treacher, joined our team to run all of customer success. And, this was, a former board member from SWIFT coming over and saying, hey, we don't think SWIFT's going to be necessarily a solution to really unlocking this Internet of Value. These are, marks along the journey.
He described GPI as a horse and buggy, and Ripple is an automobile. I think he wanted to say race car, but he said automobile.
I heard of Ripple at the time, and they said, SWIFT is going to be put out of business by Ripple. And I thought, that's quite handy. I'll phone up SWIFT and see what they think. That'll make a good story for the paper. And SWIFT said, actually, we're taking this really seriously. We think it could affect us in lots of ways.
Now, SWIFT is kind of a competitor. And so to some degree, really boil it down, Ripple's competing with the liquidity of Citi and the messaging of SWIFT, but in one, because we're both messaging and liquidity. And at the end of the day,
SWIFT is basically almost like a money neutral thing. It's not like we wanted to take over this lucrative business. We just needed things to work better in order for us to get people to use a cryptocurrency for payment.
We've made it public that our patent for an idea that uses blockchain and tokens to send and receive very rich payment information around the world, has the ability to connect both old and new payment networks around the world. So for the transmission of payment messages, we could be connecting members of the SWIFT network with members of the Ripple network. And I think
executing on a day-by-day basis is in fact taking over SWIFT, in that we've now signed up well over 100 banks. Some of the largest SWIFT-enabled banks in the world are now using Ripple's technology. Just last week we saw a remittance company who's using Ripple's technology. They reduced the price per transaction to their consumers from $20 per transaction to $2 per transaction, and they saw an 800% increase in usage overnight. That's the type of dynamic that SWIFT isn't able to support that we're able to address right now.
Batch processing, and I know SWIFT is trying to work to connect these real-time rails using SWIFT Instant, but I will say in the time that I have left that a major competitor to SWIFT is Ripple. Ripple is using RippleNet. It's using distributed ledger technology to solve correspondent banking challenges. And, their technology offers bidirectional messaging in the payment system and can actually it can answer questions about the legitimacy of funds and the correctness of any information. So, the banks that participate in RippleNet are able to exchange bilateral payment instructions in real time and enter payments with the local real-time rails, leveraging bilateral arrangements. So I'm seeing that there's different, competing schemes, right?
Looks like a threat to me. Now, in DAIXRP.com, here's what we're going to... You're talking about super bizarre videos. Houston, I think we have a problem here. This whole, the stuff we can't talk about out here because I would not be allowed to. We're going to talk about a lot of that in DAIXRP. I'm so overwhelmed with things where I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And I'm going to show you as many as I can show you while we're in there. But it's unbelievable what the times we're living through, because we've been lied to for so many times for so long, and now it's like all of their lies are falling in on themselves. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family, strap in. Here we go.